also starting to be a big boy. Getting my own tools and stuff, as I'll show you here in a second. Check it out. Just bought this package because I don't really have anything over here, and I don't really want to steal my dad's stuff to come over here with it, because I'm sure he wouldn't appreciate that very much. So I got my own jack. I got some towels and stuff. But this should be all we need for today, or for what I'm trying to do here. So let's get this set up. Sometimes it comes in handy working in a place you use box cutters all the time. It'd be helpful for this. So the jack is set up, as you can tell. It only took me 10 minutes longer than it should have, but we're actually gonna wait on that. We're gonna pop the hood in this thing and start getting to work on the injector. So basically, I was watching a little tutorial video on this, and I need to turn up my brightness a little bit. And there's two bolts holding in the fuel rail on this thing. One is like right down here somewhere, and the other one's in the back. And apparently, you can get to them without having to take off the intake somehow. It may not be easy for me because I'm mildly stupid. Actually, one's right there. I see one like right there. That's actually really easy to get to. But we'll give it a try, see what I can do. Well, so far, the back one seems to be a giant pain to get out. So I'm gonna make myself feel somewhat accomplished and take out the front one first. Maybe, if I can. There we go. Even though it's the third injector, which is the second one from the back that I need to actually take out. If it'll come out. Hello, how long is this bolt? Oh, there it is. Alright, so there's one fuel injector bolt out. Fuel rail bolt. I cannot seem to get to it from any other way. I might need to find one of those bendy things, because like I can barely get a wrench onto it, ever so slightly, but I can't get it to turn. And I can't get the ratchet on it because I hit things with the ratchet. So I may need to figure something out before I can get the other one out. Hooray! And so, since I'm stumped with the injector at the moment, this tire is kind of flat. So we are going to pop it off, or pop the wheel off. And I'm going to take it to the gas station, put some air in it, and bring it back, basically. Hello? Can I get this off, please? Oh, there we go. Don't know what that is. I'm not going to ask any questions. So, pretty huge update. I will be reinstalling the rear wheel here in a second. I got it all aired up right over there. But for now, the goal is to get the rear bolt, if I can figure out how to manage this stupid little thing that I got here, this tripod thing, bendable tripod. So basically, I've actually, I got one of those bendable little attachments for a ratchet, and look at that. I think that's it up. Let's see if we can reach down there and grab it. Reach out and touch faith. No. Oh no. Trust me, it's not easy to get back here. I think that's it loose. Ow. Watch out for the battery. You do not want to put my socket or my ratchet into the battery. Yes! It's loose. I gotta make sure really to really not lose this. I don't really want to think about how it's going to be to get back in. but the big thing is that I got it out. So now, theoretically, should be able to pull on about here and here and pull the entire fuel rail out along with my injectors. I should probably, alright, first things first, disconnect the battery because there are electrical connections here, and this is fuel that we're dealing with, so I'd rather not have an explosion. I'm going to unplug. Actually, that's, wait, where is the, isn't there a, one big connector for the, hold on, phone, ow, phone. I need you again. I think there's one big electrical connector somewhere for the injectors. Although I'm not sure entirely where it is, but that may or may not help me out with getting this stupid thing out of here. Because I could unplug each one individually, but I don't know if I want to do that. I'm just going to try and pull it out for right now. Should just pull right out, I think. Maybe it does need to be unplugged. Injectors are sure in there tight, if anything. Holy snap. Alright. I may need to watch my my tutorial video on this real quick to make sure I'm doing this all right before I break something. Okay, so it looks like it's actually impossible to get the number 3 injector out without taking out the entire intake. So guess what I'm doing right now? Taking out the entire intake. I've already taken out all the bolts on the intake, or like the plenum, I guess you call it, on the top part of the intake. Took all of them off. So I gotta undo all these for the throttle, or on the throttle like cable. Take it off of the throttle body itself, and we should be good to go. I hate when things do this. It's like, oh, it gets easy, and then as soon as I try and turn it by hand, it gets harder. You gotta love working on your own cars. And then there should be one more bolt, and we should be good to go. I was hoping I wouldn't have to do this, but it's not actually that big of a deal. I just have to undo a few vacuum lines and should come out real easy. Alright, so every bolt should be taken out now, I believe. I think. That didn't hit the ground. Oops. So, pretty huge update. As you could tell, something's not quite sitting right in there. I actually took off the entire intake manifold because there was no way I was going to get to that injector. So it was just a bunch of bolts. I undid a few electrical connections and the pipe going from there to there. And I was able to get the intake manifold out of the way enough. But sadly I was not prepared, so I do not have a gasket, a new gasket for the intake manifold. So I have to run and get one of those. But the new injector is in, that stuff's all secured. And all I have to do is kind of just reassemble when I get back. It's turning into a lot longer project than I want it to be, because I still have to fix my exhaust leak. Alright, so another huge update, because I wanted to get this done before it gets dark out. Everything's back together, as it should be. I'm not going to start it up quite yet, because I do want to put on that clamp that I had to stop the exhaust leak. And I'm going to put the rear wheel back on before I actually drive it anywhere. So, let's get that done now. Alright, so I changed my mind about the exhaust leak, because it's literally at a spot that two types meet. It's not something I can just put a clamp on. So we're just going to put the wheel on and live with the exhaust leak for one more day until I can figure out how to fix it. Moment of truth. look at it once to make sure I'm not leaking anywhere.
Did you think it was leaking? There's some oil in the garage.
The puddle of fuel underneath the truck makes me wonder.
Yeah, it is. There's a puddle. You might have got that when you was pulling off stuff, do you think?
I don't think so, because I saw it dripping onto there. Probably something I did, so I'm probably going to have to redo everything I just did.
Oh my.
Which is going to be great. Ow. I'm good. So 14 minutes and 7 seconds into this. So you may have been able to see actually that there was a leak underneath the truck whenever I first started the key, or first turned the key on. Well, depending on what I kept in and what I didn't from the little conversation with myself and possibly someone else, one of the injectors was completely just not where it was supposed to be, not in its hole. So I believe I've since fixed that problem and currently putting everything back together again. Although thankfully I didn't actually take apart the entire half of the engine this time. Not incredibly happy yet. Now it's done. So I just drove it around a little bit. And it's still running okay. The idle's a little funky. I think I need to run some injector cleaner through it. I probably got some crap down in the injectors while I was working on them. No big deal. But it, you know, accelerates better than I even remember it doing before it started having the misfire. So that's a huge plus. So I'm gonna drive it around a few next days, run some injector cleaner through it, so on and so forth. And I'll try and fix this exhaust leak at some point too. But for now, that's it for this. Alright, so here's the new fender in all its glory. It's not great, but it's better than that. Oh! Yep, that hurt. That hurt a lot. I need to clean off my finger. I am bleeding everywhere.